He blends illusion with the power of rock and roll. He has tons of world records. Last year, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and quite honestly, he's won so many other awards, there's just not enough time to list them all. But most importantly, he gives back again and again. So awesome to be talking with the coolest illusionist ever. He really is a rock star in the magic world. Criss Angel, thank you so much for stopping by.
Kiki, thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be on the show.
Now, before we go forward, I was able to talk to Tony Orlando back in the fall, his wife Fran and daughter Jenny. They were actually off to see you the following night when I saw them. And when you got the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, there's Tony Orlando with you in a picture. It's just so cool that you guys have a great connection. They love you so much. Two different generations there. How did you both become friends?
Well, first of all, Tony Orlando's like my father. We are really like father and son, and I respect the man, and I love the man like my own father. So I had the pleasure of meeting his lovely daughter, Jenny. She came to my show. She was a fan of Mind Freak, and so we met afterwards, and when I heard that her dad was Tony Orlando, I obviously wanted to meet him. So I recorded a little personal message for me on her phone, and then soon after, we had the pleasure of spending some time together, and ever since then, we've been very close, and we spend Christmas together, and every time he's out in Vegas, he comes, sees me, or I go visit him, but just love the family. Great family.
Now I know why they love you so much. You guys are together so much. They couldn't stop talking about you. You could just tell that there's a real connection there between all of you, and I just found it amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and, Tony Orlando is, I learned so much when I watch him. He's obviously a living legend, and his experience and the amount of years that he has in show business, both on the big screen, the small screen, and on the live stage, is really second to none. So I really pick his brain a lot. It's great because he's also introduced me to his friends, Jerry Lewis, who I've had the pleasure of getting to know and spending time with him. And unfortunately, his passing is tragic. But, this icon and somebody I had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with, and he came to my show, and we've chatted a lot, and he helped me out a lot with my charity, kind of handed me the torch for my work with children, and then, unfortunately, his tragic passing is a great loss. But had the pleasure of meeting Jerry along with many other greats because of, Tony Orlando.
I just love that. I absolutely love that story. And going back to you and your childhood, you loved magic from a very early age. What actually drew you in to say, this is what I want to do?
Well, for me, my Aunt Stella taught me my very first card trick. And I realized when she eventually taught me how it worked, what the secret was, I realized that magic was power. I had the power of doing something as a kid that adults didn't understand. And then I saw a magic show at our church, and then I started reading about magic and watching magic more frequently, and by the time that I was 10, 11 years old, I was completely hooked and started performing for birthday parties when I was probably about 11 years old, and by the time I was 14, I was performing in bars and clubs, riding my bicycle to work and doing close-up magic for different folks that were sitting at a table.
Now, so then you're 14, you're performing in bars, which is kind of funny. And then we move on to, you turn 27, now you're on TV. What did it take to get you from 14 to 27 to that point? Did you feel like then, okay, now it's starting to all come together for me? And what set you apart from everybody else that was doing this?
Well, I always thought magic, by and large, was kind of like this hokey novelty that never garnered the respect that the cinema did or musicians did. And my influences weren't necessarily really magicians and how they presented it. It was more pop culture, MTV. And then I was also into like artists like, Dolly or directors like Fellini. And so I eventually kind of came up with my own formula to become an overnight success. But, and that's really the truth. But the perseverance, the stick-to-itiveness, the drive, eventually paid off.
Now, when you began to, as I was doing my research, you did have a lot of skeptics and critics in the beginning. How did you overcome that? Because that must have been tough for you.
I still have, when you're the most relevant magician, because everybody wants to try to take aim towards the guy that's, the most prolific, artist in that genre. And it's unfortunate because the world of entertainment, and especially magic, is big enough for everybody.
Right.
But there's this very competitive spirit among magicians. And so for me, I utilize the skepticism or the negativity or the people that would be harsh critics in a way as fuel to make me better, to make me work harder. So I'm that type of person. I am a very competitive spirit by nature. And so when people say no to me, I always figure out how to show them that they were wrong and that I was right, and that yes is a word that is in my vocabulary and no is not.
I love that. I absolutely, and you're so positive that way. And it does, to me, I don't know you, but you rise above all of the negativity. And you do say a lot to follow your dreams. So what do you credit the most for your dreams being able to come true?
Well, negativity doesn't breed anything positive. And so positivity is very important. And, obstacles are just that. Obstacles are just, things in front of you that are going to make you creative and make you stronger and more focused. And as a better person and as a better artist, those challenges really shape who you are. And so for me, I credit that kind of thinking to my biggest inspiration, which was my father, because of his strength and what he taught me, the lessons that he showed me, when he was dying of cancer, and how he showed me that the mind is very, very powerful, and that even though the doctors gave him a death sentence to live for 3 weeks, and my dad showed the power of the mind, body, and spirit when it works together, that the will to live can even astonish Sloan Ketteren's doctors. He lived for over 3 years, and my dad was my greatest teacher.
Aww.
He was absolutely incredible and my biggest inspiration.
That is wonderful. And again, it is what you do is about everything in your mind. And you get to 2002 and you changed really the way everyone views magicians. I see it that way anyway, because you brought an edge to the industry. Then you go into a tank of water for 24 hours in Times Square. Everyone's looking at you. Harry Houdini, he did it in 1913. And then he stayed in his tank for like 3 minutes. You stayed in for 24 hours. Houdini eventually died from doing that. What possessed you to go, you know what, I want to do that? And how did you prepare for it?
Well, I always wanted to do things that have never been done before. I want to create experiences for my audiences that they never had. And I think really that's why, whether at Foxwoods or in Las Vegas, we sell out the shows and people really have an amazing time. And the word of mouth is really the best form of advertising for me, because people there, they see me on television, they're like, this can't be done live. And then I show them that, yes, it absolutely could. And it's not trick photography. It's not CGI. What you see is what you get. So for me, it's always about doing that. Houdini was an inspiration, and I just wanted to take it to a more modern time and present stuff that was much more extreme. And so for me, being underwater for 24 hours, being the first person to ever do that, was something that was very important to me. And I was back in the day where I had a lot to prove and was on my journey to get into the destination I dreamed of living my dream. And so I was willing to do a lot of really crazy things, as I am now today in my show. I take chances every show. So when I'm doing different things, there's inherent danger where I could kill myself or really get hurt. Yeah. So I think people appreciate that. And yes, I want to present it because it's not about how something works. It's about how you feel when you watch it. When you have the magic of emotion, that's the most important form of magic you're providing. It's the purest form.
And getting into that now, because your shows, they're so amazing and so much work, effort, time, everything goes into them. What goes through your mind before you walk onto that stage? Where do you have to put yourself?
Well, for me, I've done thousands and thousands of shows. I do about 450 shows a year.
Whoa.
So for me, I turn a switch on, and that switch goes on as soon as I'm in front of the audience. When I see them for the very first second, I become that person that I have to become to do my show. And so for me, it's just what I do. And, I love being on stage sometimes more than I love being, on the street. For me, I'm very comfortable there. It's home for me.
Right. Now, has anything weird ever happened to you in a show? Because the audience, I would think that drives a lot of your show is their reaction. Has anything strange ever happened where you've had to stop or you just couldn't go on?
Well, I mean, I've had, doing so many thousands and thousands of shows, I've had lots of crazy things happen, whether with people, fans, and their excitement, and women, and stuff that I don't think we could probably say.
Come on, give us a crazy one.
Phone.
Give us a crazy one.
A crazy one.
Yeah.
A woman enjoying her body while she was watching the show.
Oh, stop it! Stop it!
It's the truth. It's happened several times. We've had drunk people in there. We've had people, a fire alarm go off in the middle of a show, which had nothing to do with me, but it was a fire alarm, and we had to evacuate the building. So, anything that can go wrong usually does go wrong eventually, and that's the excitement about Foxwoods and playing live. This is the first time I'm doing Mind Freak Live in this year on tour, and this is the only venue I'm doing Mind Freak Live, Foxwoods, because it's like my second home.
Wow.
So this show, this exudes excitement and crazy illusions, and the audience, it's an event. The audience has come from all over the place to see the show, and the energy is just beautiful, and it's positive, and you never know what can happen either on stage or in the audience.
All right, but wait.
I usually appear in the middle of the audience, sitting down in a seat in the middle of the audience, and people lose their mind when that happens.
Honestly, all right. So someone had to have jumped on you at one point when you did that.
I've had that happen periodically.
But wait a minute now. Just going back to the woman thing, you're performing and you see this happening. That's got to throw you off. It's got to.
Yeah, definitely. I did a double take because I didn't think my eyes were seeing things correctly. I mean, we've had people come on stage and their tops come off, or just crazy things that happen, or things that are perpetuated by the person that wants attention.
Yeah.
And in Vegas sometimes people are drinking, so they're not really themselves, and they have liquid courage and they're doing crazy things. But it's all part and parcel, and I've seen it all, so I'm sure nothing really would surprise me.
Now, you've partnered with Cirque du Soleil, Luxor, and you've been there for 10 years, but now it's coming to an end. What is next for Criss Angel?
Well, I'll be announcing my new live show, which will happen. I'll announce that next month on my social media, Criss Angel, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And I'll be announcing what that is, but I can just say that it will be something that the world of entertainment has never seen before, something I've been working on for about 20 years, and something that I'm so excited to bring to the stage. And I'm working 16 to 18 hours right now a day, 7 days a week, and I have been for months and months and months to facilitate this vision that I have, and I'm just really excited about that.
Well, you're amazing, and you do all of these wonderful, fantastic, star-studded shows, so I'm sure it's going to be amazing. But I have to go back to a simple trick I saw you do. You walk through a metal gate, but I absolutely loved when your mom was asking you how you did it. Now, does she get to spend much time with you on the road?
No, I mean, she'll be at Foxwoods and she'll come to visit me, but, my mom is in New York with my brothers, and I'm in Vegas. But I do travel, frequently to the East Coast. I'll be at Foxwoods, obviously, coming up June 27th through, I think it's July
1st. Yeah.
I want to say July the 1st, I think it is.
Yeah.
I'll be doing 8 shows, which are almost sold out right now. So if people want to come see it, they need to get tickets immediately. And then I'll be back there, I think in November with my other show. So I'll be doing 2 different shows at Foxwoods exclusively.
Nice.
So very excited about that. So my mom does come and visit. My family comes and visit. I bring my son out there, and we love to play. Foxwoods has so many things to do in that resort. It's so amazing how big it is.
Yeah.
And there's just so much to do. And I'm even hosting Saturday night over at the club there. I'm going to be hosting So I'm really excited to do that as well. So we'll be able to party with my fans, after the show on Saturday.
That is so awesome. So awesome. Now, you're not only a magician, but you were a musician as well. You had the groups Angel and Angel Dust. Any plans to do any more music in the future?
Yeah, well, the music in the show is the music either I have arranged or I've created, written, so I produce. So music is still part and parcel to everything that I create on television or live. It's all part and parcel to it.
You do everything.
I'm very stupid.
No.
You know what it is? It's because I have a vision, and I want to make sure that my vision comes to fruition as I see it. So I have my hand in every single thing, from what color the stage is, to what the costume look like, to what the lighting design is, to what the sound design is, to all the illusions I create, I design. My 60,000 square foot shop, my incredible team brings it to life as I fabricate everything under one roof. All the graphics, all the video content, everything I create, direct, and do in-house. I have a 60,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility, the only one like it in the world.
Wow.
And we're able to really create, ultimately, the best experience for the audience. And I think that's why audiences all over the world, whether I'm performing in Argentina, Las Vegas, or Foxwoods, people come to trust the Criss Angel brand as a brand that they know that they will have with their family an incredible experience, and that my show will exude and have something exciting for the entire family. There's something in it for everyone.
Well, yeah, you're obviously giving your all so your fans can have it all as well.
Absolutely.
Is there anyone, Criss, that you idolized, and when you finally met them, you said, oh my gosh, I can't even speak right now?
Never that I couldn't speak, but I was very excited to recently actually meet and spend time with, and actually he's coming out to see me. He's going to come over to my house for lunch, and we're going to spend a day or two together. Paul Stanley of Kiss.
Come on.
So, so he just was at my show. He was blown away. He was just like, he even went and tweeted a picture. You can look that up either on my site, my Twitter, Criss Angel, or Paul Stanley Live. But Paul was a big inspiration as a kid, and he's an incredible performer, entertainer, and the fact that he really, I guess, had a great respect for what I did on stage and for what I created, and now is going to be coming back next week to spend some time together is really very exciting to me. The only other person I really wanted to meet that I didn't have the pleasure, but reached out to me because of the tour in London that he was planning, was Michael Jackson.
Aww.
And unfortunately, I never had that pleasure, but I did have the pleasure of spending time with the family, and specifically Paris is a good friend of mine. So that's a really beautiful thing.
That is awesome. Now, I do have to ask you, how is your son Johnny doing?
Johnny Christopher is doing really good. He does chemo every single day. We're hoping that his 3-year treatment will be completed, and he'll ring the bell this December 29th. My girl, Chenille, is amazing, my significant other, and she is the greatest mother I've ever seen. She takes care of him in ways that I've never seen any parent take care of the child. She administers the chemo every night.
Wow.
She deals with all of his meds, and she just spends her time giving Johnny an incredible life. And when I'm there, which after work, we just have a great time together. We go to Disney a lot. We go and we spend time doing things together as a family, and it's really a wonderful time. And I do apologize that a big truck is passing me right now.
They're probably waving. Well, I have to say that I did just make a donation to your charity. Everybody can go.
Oh, thank you.
I love it because, the fact that 100% of the proceeds go to pediatric research and treatment, how many charities can say 100% goes to what they're funding for?
The unfortunate thing is most charities are businesses. I've been working with kids since 2001. I started with the Sunshine Kids in Manhattan, and I did work with pediatric cancer kids and kids that had problems. And I had this one little boy named Corey had a profound effect on me when I met him in my Mind Freak show, which was 2001. And he was this little boy that loved wrestling and loved magic. and he passed on, and it just blew my mind, and I couldn't stop thinking about him. And so over the years, I spent a lot of time with Make-A-Wish and St. Baldrick's and different organizations that really try to help these children that are struggling with life and death. And then, my son was born, and before he was 2 years old, he was diagnosed with leukemia. And, it just underscored, and it was kind of crazy because I was doing all of this work years prior to having my own child.
Right.
Then my own child has it. And now my child's 4 years old, and he's still going through it. So, one child every 2 minutes is diagnosed with cancer, and cancer is the leading cause of death among children by disease. And so, and out of every $100 that the American Cancer Institute raises, less than 70 cents goes to pediatric cancer, and This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
We need to stand shoulder to shoulder, whether you're black, white, brown, or green, because cancer doesn't discriminate. It can affect anybody's family. And so for me, it's about raising money, raising awareness, and we've raised, $1 million essentially in one night. Gary Oldman is a partner of mine in that. And we were able to have one night raise $1 million, and we're going to be doing it again next year. And I've raised, money throughout the course of the year. Every show we have donations, and 100%, as you point out, goes to research and treatment. I fund it all out of my pocket because, when you have a child and you see children that are going through this, it has a profound effect. And I'm just so grateful, and people should be so grateful if they have their health. They have everything. If you have love, health, and happiness, you're the wealthiest person in the world.
Absolutely. And I think we're all very fortunate to have someone like you who's risen to the top. And I just love the fact that you are so passionate about giving back.
Well, yeah, I mean, God's blessed me so much abundantly with this success that is beyond my wildest dreams. And, I just feel that I have a child for a greater cause. And, Chenille, Johnny, and I really want to be a voice and help move people to help children, because children should not have to worry about life and death. They should worry about what toy they're going to play with, or going to school, or living and growing as a normal human being, not having to deal with doctors and needles and spinal taps and blood transfusions as my son does. So we want to do everything in our power, and I think that's why I've been blessed with the success, is to do something and to be a voice for these children and to be a positive force in the world. There's a lot of negativity in the world, and I definitely want to be positive, and I want to move people, and I want to take people and allow them to reach their fullest potential and see that anything is possible, and that we can do great things if we put our minds to it and our focus.
Oh, absolutely. And that totally comes across, Criss. I have to say that you just have a great spirit about yourself. And
Thank you.
I am sure that your dad is looking down. He's very, very proud of you. What would your dad say to you? He had businesses of his own, like you had mentioned. What would he say to you about your success at this point?
I think what he would say about my success is, that would be one component. I think what he'd be more proud of is kind of my being, I would like to think, somewhat grounded and trying to give back. I think that's really what type of person he was. And if I could be, 1% of what my dad was, then I've succeeded tremendously.
Mm-hmm. That is wonderful. And Criss, we're going to see you at Foxwoods. Mind Freak Live will be there from June 27th through July 1st. Thank you so much for hanging out today. I absolutely, and I know fans will say the same thing, your humbleness is just, it's great, and it does come across in a large, large way. Look forward to catching Mind Freak Live at Foxwoods. All the best to you and your family and your beautiful son. Criss Angel, it's been an honor.
Yeah, I want to thank you so very much for having me on. I want to thank all the folks that are listening to this. I hope to see you at Foxwoods. We'll have an amazing time, and God bless.